All right, welcome to Beginner Yoga. My name is Ricky Kelly. Let's get started. I think the key things we'll want to do when you're starting yoga is definitely remember to breathe. You want to keep breathing as you enter and exit poses. And the second thing is just remember that not every pose is good for you. But you'll just want to try, you want to try and find your balance and try to move into a pose, and you might not get there, but I think the goal is really to breathe and to find your balance within that breath. So I like to start in an easy seat pose. Easy seat pose is just your two sit bones on the mat. Really, you have your legs crossed. And you're just trying to find some balance here. A nice, easy pose to get started, and then find your breath. You want to sit upright, open the shoulders, gaze forward, and just really pick up from the waist, opening the shoulders. You can even move your feet and toes together, a nice butterfly pose, nice hip opener here, and just find your breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and then just pick up the pace. So inhale through the nose, and release the breath. Let's try that a couple more times. Inhale through the nose, nice inhale. And release the breath. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale through the nose. Finding that balance, finding the breath, and then we'll start to move the hands up high. So just trying to find some length, some reach, gaze forward, and then hands down. Taking the hands up high, and then we'll take the right hand to the mat and then open up the left side, and really just trying to find that length on the left side, finding the reach. The lower body is staple on the mat, and then release the right hand, left hand to the mat, opening on the right side. Release both hands to the mat, and then left hand to the right knee, and just want to take a nice little twist of the torso, gaze behind you. Inhale, exhale, always breathing, and then release, hands up high, and then right hand to the left knee, gaze behind you. So nice twist of the torso. And then release, hands up high. And then just real quickly, we'll open up the back body. So you want to move the torso, the head. And then release, hands up high. And then hands facing behind you. And you're just going to open up, just prop up the head, open the shoulders, gaze up high, two sit bones on the mat, and then release, hands up high, and then hands on your knees. Let's do a seated cat-cow. So again, two sit bones on the mat. You just want to move the torso forward and then backwards. Torso forward and then backwards. And just find some movement here. Just find the balance with the breath. Inhale, release, inhale, release, inhale, release. Let's do this a good 3 to 4 more times. Seated cat-cow. Couple more breaths. Inhale, release the breath. Inhale, release, last time. Inhale, release the breath, and then back to center. And then we'll gently just move the head to the right side. So just finding some length, some movement of the head to the right side. Chin to chest, chin to shoulder. And then we'll reverse to the left side. So movement of the head, just to get the neck muscles moving with the breath. And then back to the right side. And then we'll close to the opposite side. And then back to center, release. And then we'll just take the legs long, so seated, forward fold, so you'll take the hands up high. You got both heels on the mat, 2 sit bones on the mat. You got some nice length here, hands up high. Finding that length, stretching from the hips, opening the shoulders, gaze forward, and then you'll gently take the hands and try to touch the toes or the ankles or maybe below the knee. Nice forward fold of the torso, just setting the head easy. Bending the knees if necessary to release the pressure on the back. And then release the bind. Hands up high, one more time. Nice forward fold, forward. Maybe grab the toes, the ankles, or just below the knee. And then we'll release back to center. And then we'll gently take the hands behind you to open up the torso and the gaze forward, the shoulders. Remember, 2 heels on the mat, on the floor. Nice, and then release back to center, and then you'll take the legs out wide, hands up high, and then rotate the torso to the right side. And then just try to grab the toes or the ankles or just below the knee. Nice twist of the torso, forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. And then release, hands up high, back to center, and then we'll just rotate the torso to the left side. Let the head feel easy. Always breathing, inhale. Release the breath, inhale, and releasing the breath, and then picking up the torso back to center, and then we'll take the legs to the mat to find ourselves in a nice cat-cow pose here. So you got your shoulders over your wrists, hips over knees, nice and easy, strong, got the balance, and then we'll gently inhale. Gaze high, opening the shoulders, and then release the breath. Cat-cow. Finding that movement that feels good to you with the breath. This can go fast, or this can go slow. We'll take a good 3 to 4 breaths here. And then we'll reset back to center and just find some movement forward and backwards. Nice and easy. We'll take a couple breaths here. And then reset back to center. We're going to take that right hand right in front of your face. Open that left hand high. So nice twist of the torso. Find that opening, and then thread the needle right under that right arm, left shoulder to the mat, and then we'll take that right hand forward to find ourselves, thread the needle there. So you just thread the needle there, nice and easy. So taking that left hand high, and then thread the needle right under that left shoulder to the mat, and then take that right hand forward. The left, the head, just right on the mat. Finding that breath, finding that center, really just trying to find the balance. Remember to breathe, and then you'll walk that right hand back to the mat, and then opening the shoulder high, left hand high, and then left hand right back to the mat. We'll take that left hand right under your face, opening that right hand high, and then thread the needle right under that left hand, and then taking the left hand high. Remembering to breathe, nice and easy. Inhale, release the breath. One more time, inhale, release the breath, and then we'll take that left hand back down, opening the shoulder, and then right back down to the mat. We'll take that left hand forward, and then extend
the right hand forward, extending the left leg, so opposite sides. Just trying to find some balance here. Well, it's all about the balance, and then release back to the mat. Opposite side, left hand long, right foot long. Trying to find that balance here. And then release back to center, opposite side, right hand long, left foot long. Finding that balance with the breath. And then release back to center, opposite side. Finding that balance with the breath. And then release back to center. And then we'll flip the toes, pushing into the palms of our hands. We'll find ourselves in downward facing dog. So we're gonna pedal the feet left and right, pedaling the feet, really pushing into the hands, bending the knees to keep the hips high, and just wanna find some length in that back body. Trying to find that extension. Breathing, always breathing. And then we'll release the knees all the way down to the mat, opening the knees out wide, sitting on the heels. We'll take the hands up high, and then just find some stretch. So the torso is gonna go in between the knees. So we find ourselves in a nice child's pose. Head on the mat. Just trying to find some length from the hips, the shoulders, the crown of the head, all the way to the tip of the fingers. Inhale through the nose, release the breath. A couple more times, inhale through the nose, release the breath. Last one, last call. Inhale through the nose, release the breath. And we'll take the hands up high. And then hands back down to the mat. We'll flip the toes back to downward facing dog. Pedaling the feet, pedaling the feet. Nice and easy. And pushing into the palms of your hands to keep the hips lifted. And then we'll gently move the head and the shoulders all the way forward to find ourselves in plank pose. So shoulders over wrists. Got the toes activated here. Trying to find our balance with our breath before we gently lower all the way down to the mat. Got the elbows pointing behind you. Nice and easy. Setting up for a nice low cobra. So you have the hands extended, the fingers extended, and then we'll gently push into the mat to lift the head and the shoulders. Nice and easy, not too high. And then release the breath. Extend the hands. We'll take that right ear to the mat. We'll take a couple breaths here. Inhale through the nose. Release the breath one more time. Inhale through the nose. Release the breath. And then setting up for low cobra on the right for the second time. So pushing into the palms of the hands to keep the head lifted, opening the shoulders. Nice and easy. And then release. Taking that left ear to the mat. Hands by your side. We'll take a couple breaths here. Then release. We'll flip the toes, pushing into the hands. Will send us back to plank pose, and then back to downward facing dog. So you might have to extend the legs, adjust the legs to find yourself in a nice downward facing dog here. And then we'll bend the knees, we'll walk or hop all the way to the top of the mat to find ourselves in a nice forward fold. So you have your feet hip width apart, you have your knees bent, and you're just gonna let that top body just hang nice and easy. Inhale through the nose, release the breath. Inhale through the nose, release the breath. We'll take the hands on the shins for a halfway lift. So halfway lift, you really wanna have that upper body extended, and then release the bind, and then hands all the way up high, and then hands by your side to find ourselves in a nice
Tadasana pose. So you have the feet slightly bigger than hip width apart, hands by your side. And we'll do a couple standing postures here before we find ourselves back to the mat. So we'll do a chair pose. We'll take the feet hip width apart, slightly bending the knees, hands up high, just like we're sitting into a chair, but we're not. So we're gonna bend those knees, trying to get those hips as low as we can, while the torso high, gaze forward, and take your hands or here. Nice and easy. Inhale, release the breath. Inhale, release the breath. And then we'll release to a forward fold. Hands on the shins, halfway lift. Releasing forward fold. And then hands all the way up high. And then hands by your side. We'll set up for another chair pose. So keeping those feet hip width apart, we're just going to take the hands up high or hands at heart center, and we'll settle into our chair. So trying to get the hips low as we can while keeping the upper body lifted. Gaze forward. Inhale through the nose, release the breath. Inhale through the nose, release the breath. And then extend the legs to a forward fold. Hands on the shins, halfway lift. Release the bind forward fold, and then circle your hands all the way up high, and then hands at heart center. All right, so we will find our way on our backs. Just try to find some length, stretching from the heels, through the hips, through the shoulders, hands up high. Just trying to find that length. And then we'll pull the knees into the chest. And find some movement on the back, to the left, to the right side. And then setting up for a happy baby pose. So we're gonna extend the legs long and try to find the bottoms of our feet with our hands. And then opening the legs wide. And just finding nice, gentle movement on our backs with our breath. Happy baby pose. Nice extension of the hips. We'll take a good 4 or 5 breaths here. So taking that breath in and then release. We'll do that 4 more times. Taking the breath in and release the breath. Inhale and release. We'll take a couple more breaths here before we meet in a nice little bridge pose. To bottom of the heels to the mat. We'll use the heels. The feet are hip width apart, and we'll just push on the heels to lift the hips up high. And then we'll release the hips down low. We'll take 3 more bridge poses here. So we'll pushing into the heels to lift the hips up high. And then release. And we'll take the hips up high. And then release. And then taking the hips up high. Release all the way down to the mat, and we'll take the legs long, stretching from the toes all the way to the tip of the fingers. We'll take the knees into the chest, and then we'll rotate the knees to the right side, supine twist, so extending the hands long. We'll take the gaze to the left side.
Always breathing. Inhale. Release the breath. Inhale. And release. And then when you're ready, we'll move back to center. So taking the knees into the chest. Supine twist, where we'll just rotate the knees to the opposite side. Gaze to the right side. We'll release back to center, and then we'll meet in a nice comfortable seat. So we'll rotate the knees to the right side and then roll our way back to a comfortable seat, just like where we started. So we'll take 2 sit bones on the mat. We'll either cross our legs here, or we'll take a butterfly pose and touch the bottom of our feet here. Want to find some balance with the breath, and then really pushing the upper torso from the hips all the way up high, opening the shoulders, gaze forward. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Take the hands up high. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and then release the length. Taking the hands up high, ends up inhale through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. And then we'll take our hands at heart center. Really thanking yourselves for taking the time to find some breath with some movement. Remember to always breathe, keep moving, be well, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.